podcast today. It's 2:30 in podcast land. Just a quick intro here. Actually, I have something rattling around in my brain. It's one of the few sports passions I still have, and I'm very disappointed and borderline angry, but I need to see the situation unfold a little bit more. Maybe it'll be a blog post on Facebook real soon. If you are a Family Feud watcher, you know that a Sylvania family has been on recently. They have a couple more episodes to go, but the Kahan family from Sylvania, Steve and his crew, have been on and have been very successful, though he can't tell me how successful they've been. But I'm very much looking forward to having a moment to catch up with Steve. He was on with Denny a couple weeks ago, chatted with my friend Brian at NBC, and now I get some time to talk to Steve. So after Steve as well, we're going to preview with Toney from Leadership Toledo Restaurant Week, which is back in full throttle this year after being almost shut down by COVID, but literally one of the last things we could do before COVID 2 years ago. And last year was obviously very different, but Restaurant Week is back. So after Steve and all the good times he had on the Family Feud and that discussion, we'll talk to Anna previewing Restaurant Week, which is coming up in just about 2.5 weeks. We've exchanged a bunch of emails, but I put it in my brain again. How do I correctly say your last name?
So it's Kahan.
Kahan. Got it.
Kahan. Yeah, actually, they made sure we spelled it Kahawn, so everybody pronounced it correctly. But it's Kahan
phonetically. So did you hear me on the air mispronouncing your name, or did somebody tell you?
So actually, somebody called me and said, "Hey, you're on the air," and then they said, "Just so you know, they're pronouncing your name wrong." And I'm like, you know what? I'll give them a call. If they're gonna talk about us, they might as well at least have the right name. That's all. So,
yeah. And I do my best to get names correct, but I'm glad it worked out like that because I don't want to get in any weeds with what I do, but I'm so glad that you called and we could connect. And I saw the story. I think my friend Brian did something with you guys on NBC, and you guys.
Oh, dude, Brian's awesome, man. He was he came out to our watch party and stayed out all night with us. We had a blast.
So, are you speaking to me right now from your yacht in the Caribbean with all the money you won?
Right, yeah. We bought a 400-footer. No, you're speaking to me. I'm by myself. My wife, unfortunately, she works nights, so she's sleeping right now. My daughter's gone, so it's just me. But I am sitting in my house right now, just chilling out.
So how did this all start? Like before you even wound up wherever you wound up to do the tapings, who said what to go? Hey, we should be on Family Feud.
So my daughter and I love Family Feud. I mean, it's no secret. We've been watching it for years. It's just one of the things that we like to watch. And during COVID, when everybody was home all the time, it's one of the shows we watched all the time. And my daughter, who at the time was 16, looked at me one night and says, "Dad, we should go on Family Feud." And I'm like, "Sure, Emily." And she goes, "No, seriously." I'm like, "Well, I don't think it just works like that. I don't think you just say you're going to go on and go on." So I don't know. I gave it about a week later or so. I just thought, I'm going to Google how you actually get on the show, and that's how it started. I mean, it was just kind of I want to say on a whim, but and then it just really just snowballed from there. It just went forward, and email after email and phone call and Zoom conferences and all the rest of the stuff. And next thing you know, They called us up and asked us if we'd be on the show, and my jaw hit the floor. And after I picked it up, I called my family and said, "Hey, we're going to Atlanta."
What? And these are the things I like to dig into. So What was in those emails? Like, did you have to fill out any kind of precursor survey or say why you?
Yeah. So obviously, because of the way things are today, there's not a lot of live interviews going on with stuff. So at the time, we just sent an email in and just with some family information and they responded back, and it really was just a multitude of different emails and stuff, and every time that they sent something back that they maybe wanted some more information, we provided it, and then we were fortunate enough to talk to one of their producers, and they couldn't be any nicer, and we ended with a regular interview, I think I don't know all the details, but I think we just kind of went into a bank of families that potential families for the show, and whether it was luck, whether it was fortune, being fortunate, I don't know. But they called us up and said, "Hey, we'd love you to be on the show." And I mean, that's really about it. There's not a whole lot more to it than that.
I can just see you hopping on the computer going, "Dear Steve, I'm also a Steve in Sylvania, and I think we'd be great on your show. My daughter says so." So as you probably learned, and I don't know how much knowledge of media you have, and it seems like you have some. These things are TV shows; they have to be entertaining. So something about your family struck them that got you down there. Any idea what that might have been?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they, I think they like the fact that we were, a little on the louder side. That's just my family. But, they probably during the interview saw our family connection and how close we are, and we love to spend time together, and that we cheered each other on, and there wasn't we're and it's just how we normally are. We're supportive of each other, and they want families on there like that. They want it's a fun family show, and we went with it, and it was exactly what we thought it would be and more.
I want to come back to that. What was did you just pile into the Detroit airport, they fly you down to Atlanta, and then it's like first class service and they take care of you? I know you said you've got a great experience with them. What was I guess without going into all the little bitty details of stuff, they treated us like kings and queens. I mean, they everything was first class, first rate. Let's just start with the beginning. I mean, they couldn't be any friendlier or nicer, any more supportive. I mean, they want you to come down there. They want you to have a good time and that kind of stuff. And they took care of everything, all the little details. They made sure we were okay. They obviously fed us and those kind of things. And then, it's showing up with the other families and like I said, I don't know, how many details I can go into or what I can't go into, but they were, they have an entire team that gets this all set up for you. Sure. And really you show up to the airport and the rest is taken care of. So you get to the studio, and how do they prep you to go on the air to record the show?
We're really not allowed to talk too much about behind the scenes stuff, but they just, how to explain? So they start you off in the morning, and they talk to you about the rules. They get all that out of the way, but then they start just kind of pumping you up. All the families. I mean, we're all together, and it's they tell you, look, you're a few families out of thousands that applied to be on the show, and you're here, so let's make the most of it. And they tell you, when you get on stage, we want you loud and we want you fun and supportive of each other. And even if somebody gives a dumb answer, there's no dumb answer. Just, keep supporting and stuff. So, cause you'll see that on the show. Sometimes somebody will give the most bizarre answer. And everybody's going, yeah. Well, that's, what you got to do. You got to be supportive. So,
we're probably close to the same age. We're well familiar with Family Feuds for decades and different hosts. Right. And right. I don't know about you, but I remember the show being much different when I was watching it. It was more straightforward, and it's changed over the years. To me, it's become more entertaining, more comedic, more humorous. And I'll lead you down this behind the scenes stuff. You gave Brian a quote in the NBC story. Said they told you to think like 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean
that encapsulates all the answers that I see, and it makes it so much more fun now.
Well, they let you know, look, I mean, we're asking 100 people, we may be in a mall asking 100 people these questions. I mean, you're not, these aren't, questions of academia, they're not, right. You don't have to think for a while to come up with these answers. And they tell you, kind of just, the first thing that comes to mind, let it out, and no answer is a dumb answer, and it's all entertaining. I mean, you saw some of the episodes. I had my 17-year-old daughter on the show, and I mean, some of the answers she came up with were hilarious. I mean, she's got over 250,000 views on one of the social media websites for just some of her answers. So there's no secret to the show. They let you know, look, we want you to win. We want you to have a good time. We want you to win. It's the most watched game show in the world. So all these people are watching. They want people. The audience wants people to win. We want people to win, and so they kind of they give you they don't give you hints, but they just tell you bring your brain down a little bit and right. Think like somebody would walking through a mall with the answer. First answer comes to your mind.
It's a great mindset. Can I ask you to rank the performances of your family members?
Oh, wow. Let me, it's an interesting question. Let me answer it by this. Okay. So, let's start with my wife. My wife is the smartest person I've ever met in my life. She's brilliant. And one of the things her and I talked about, she didn't think we were even going to go on the show until we were actually standing on the stage in Atlanta. I mean, she was just blown away. And I told her, I said, honey, you really got to bring it down a few notches when you come up with these answers. And I don't know if you've seen any of the episodes, but she was amazing. Like Steve Harvey, actually, and you can see it on there. Steve Harvey called her one of the best players that he's ever seen on the show. I mean, she was amazing. So as far as pure coming up with the answers, my wife was definitely one. My boys, my older son Cody and my middle son RJ, both were fantastic. Cody was the one that went on Fast Money with Christine for the episodes that you saw, and he did a great job, and my son RJ did a great job. And then Emily. I mean, Emily was on the show exactly what we thought she'd be. She is the funnest kid, and just throws caution to the wind. And so she was she came up with some of the funny answers and some of the Steve really liked Emily. I think he has a daughter her age, so it seemed like they had a really good connection. And if you watch the episodes really carefully, this is one thing you can catch. When he walks out onto the stage, every time he walked out and we were there, he'd say, "Hey, Emily," as he walked out on the stage, which was really cool.
What's school been like for them?
When we got back, we were able to tell people we were on Family Feud, but we couldn't tell them any of the outcomes or anything like that. So everybody's been like super psyched since we got back in June. So it was 6 months. Everybody's been asking and psyched up about the episodes coming, and they finally aired. So she's been a bit of a rock star at school. Kids have been super supportive of her. Obviously, there's a little ribbon going on here and there. So it's been awesome for her. The school made a big announcement during our first episode for everybody to go home and watch it that night. And then my middle son RJ's in college, and obviously he has a ton of friends, and everybody has been supportive. He's down at University of Dayton, and he's been eating it up down there. And then my older son Cody, he's kind of the extrovert of the family. I mean, he's got friends everywhere and blah and that kind of stuff, and they've been super supportive, and he's been throwing it out on social media and all that kind of stuff. So it's been pretty awesome for the kids. They've been loving it.
Did any of the kids give answers where like a younger version of you wanted to ground them and say, "Where did you learn that?"
If you've seen some of the episodes so far, in this area, the first 3 episodes have aired, and I don't think anybody was too off the wall, but my daughter definitely gave some, young girl innocent answers, because she, that kind of stuff. And like I said, she's been, some of her answers got blown up on social media, which is fun, that kind of thing. But no, I mean, everybody was pretty good and kept it GPG, that kind of thing. So.
I think when we were exchanging emails or we chatted once, Steve Harvey was great to interact with and was a great host and all that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that you can say bad about the guy, and
Right.
he's amazing. He's what you see on TV and then more. So super nice, down to earth, like knew everybody's name, that was there, like legitimately knew their name. Like I said, he called out my daughter every time he came on stage. That was kind of cool. He great stories, just about the people that he surrounds himself with, and just couldn't be any more gracious and supportive, and just a heck of a nice guy. I mean, he's a superstar, but just a super nice guy. And let me add to that,
Sure.
that show doesn't run without the crew. And the crew, like, I've never been on a show before, so I don't know how most crews are, but their crew, everybody from the executive producer down to the people that were driving us in the shuttle buses, were amazing.
Good.
I mean, they were amazing. They treated you like, super respectful, and anything you needed, they were there for you. And it was awesome. It was just a phenomenal experience.
If you can't answer any of this, I get it, or you can dance around them. You were very successful. You were probably down there quite a bit. How long were you down there? Did you get to do any touristy stuff in Atlanta?
Yeah, we did. We had some free time, so we were able to get to, we rented some bikes and rode actually to downtown Atlanta, which was kind of cool. We've never been there before. And got to do that kind of stuff. And so we had a little bit of downtime, but we were there, pretty much Sunday through Thursday. And we had 5 episodes there. I think you and I kind of discussed it, that locally here, only the first 3 have shown so far. The 4th one's on tomorrow because we got preempted by the Olympics. But all 5 episodes have aired nationally. But during the first 3 episodes, after the first 3 episodes, which you could have seen already here locally, we've already been to Fast Money twice, and we won once. So it's if you haven't seen the 3rd episode, it's pretty. My wife and older son were amazing up in Fast Money. It was pretty cool.
Can people? Is there anywhere to go back and watch these again? Do they have these archives on their site or anything?
I'm not 100% sure. I know you can go back. I know you get on the Family Feud website and stuff, and you can see snippets of shows. I don't know where they're archived to see the whole show. So I don't really know. I know my older son watched it on like YouTube TV or Hulu or something, and he had the ability to record the shows and do that. But I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question.
Sure. How hard was it to keep the secret for such a long period of time?
It was the worst. I mean, we wanted to tell everybody everything. There's so many, in that short time we were there, like I said, we were there for 5 days. So many cool things happened, and so many little stories and that kind of stuff. And, we weren't able to tell anybody. Actually, an interesting story. So if you watch the 3rd episode, you'll see in Fast Money, and I don't want to give away anything if you haven't seen the episode. But the interesting thing is I work out with a group called F3. It's a men's workout group, and my nickname's Hedgehog, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
You can't make these stories up. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Yeah, I can only imagine having to wait so long to share anything at all. And I'm pretty familiar from having, I've been in the music business for a long time. I'm familiar with some NDAs. And like, these are things like the CIA. They will make you disappear if you violate them at all.
Well, I mean, like I said, it was hard to keep the secret. At least we could tell people we were on the show, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it's and I will say this: my family did a great job of keeping it in and making sure that we weren't telling people anything. In fact, my older son Cody, so we were down there in June. He was just going to be married, and his wife didn't know the outcomes of those episodes.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, so when she saw him on TV for the first time is the first time she knew the outcomes of the show.
What else I wanted to ask you? I think there's an important lesson here that I wasn't expecting you to share. Always ask. Like, you just sent the email when your daughter suggested it, watching it. Always ask, because you'll never know when you're going to get a yes, and then look what you wind up doing.
Right, and I'll tell you, like I said, from the first email I sent until we were actually standing on the stage in Atlanta, we were like, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen, and we just kept pushing forward, and it happened. It was, these are memories that we'll have our family members will have for a lifetime. So.
What's next? Is Emily in your ear? She's like, Dad, let me tell you about what's next?
Well, I don't know exactly what the limitations are for going back on that show, but man, I'll tell you what, my whole family wants to get back on. It's been a real ride, a real whirlwind, and a great experience. And I don't know. We'll see.
What other game show do you guys like? Would you like to be on now that you've been through this experience and a successful one at that? Like, what else is like what if?
If I'm just being honest with you, I loved going on a show with my family. I don't want to go. I don't think any of us want to go on a show by ourselves, so to speak. So this
Right.
this is a show we love, and this is if we went back to a show, we'd like to go back on this show. Because we can do it as a family and have that experience.
Do you guys often do family vacations, or was it the first time you were all together?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we vacation as families. I mean, listen, we sit when my family's all in town, we sit and play board games all night. We actually like each other. We like hanging out with each other. So
that's good. That probably helped you guys win, having that great chemistry. I could only imagine what it would like to be doing all that traveling, cooped up with my family. That I love them, but some of them get on my nerves a little bit. So good for you.
Trust me, it's not always perfect.
Right.
And no family's ever perfect, but yeah, it's. I wouldn't have wanted to do it any other way.
For as encyclopedic as your wife is, are you telling me that if a producer called you up and they're like, "Hey, we saw you in Family Feud, would you like to do Jeopardy?" She'd say no, and you guys wouldn't support her?
You know what? Like I said, she's just the smartest woman I've ever met. So I'm sure if she went on another show, she'd do just fine too.
Okay.
And we would support her.
Thanks for this time. I'm glad this has been such a great experience for all of you guys. We have 2 more shows left to go. You said one runs tomorrow night?
No, one is tomorrow afternoon. So it's Saturday the 12th at noon,
okay.
And then Saturday the 19th at noon.
Can you reveal anything here? You said they've already aired nationally, like some results or anything like that. If you can, I understand.
You know what? Let's just say we do pretty well.
Yeah. And then, they take a lot of taxes out, don't they?
I don't know.
Okay. No, I remember.
I don't have a good answer for you.
Okay. I think they do. I remember learning as a kid, I'd always be fascinated. And you too, probably. Like, wow, that person just won all that money, and my dad wouldn't need it to be the wet blanket. He's like, yeah, but you only get half because of taxes and stuff.
Right. I'm sure no matter what, taxes are high, of course.
I will.
Like I said, had we not won a dime, it still would have been an amazing experience.
Sure. I'm glad we could finally catch up and do this. I will allow you to get back to your beautiful family on your Caribbean yacht that you've been vacationing in since you've been back. And when you get back, you'll go from Sylvania you'll have your mansion built in Ottawa Hills. And yeah, good stuff. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Take a ride on my new Veerjet. We can hop on that with you too.
I will take you up on that.
Yeah, awesome.
Steve Kahan, thank you very much for the time. I'm so glad this is such a great experience for you.
For calling me, I appreciate you doing this interview, and we'll be looking forward to hearing it.
I'm so glad I mispronounced your name on the air. If I hadn't, somebody might not have reached out to you. So, and I'm glad you called too.
Things happen for a reason, brother.
It's good to, not see you right now. I mean, I can see you on the internet with things, but it's good to talk to you again. I think we haven't connected like this in this intimate way in probably 3 years, because we're getting to the 2-year mark now of things that COVID has uprooted. Obviously, there was no restaurant week in 20, right?
No, there was. So restaurant week happened right before the world shut down. So it ended that first week of March, and then the following week was when our worlds were flipped upside down.
I looked back. One of my memories on Facebook popped up from January of last year, and I said something about COVID. I'm like, oh, I'm going to delete this because I don't ever want this to come. We were still all in the period of, it's just the flu, it's the cold. And how was managing through us trying to get all this information correct about the virus 2 years ago with Restaurant Week 2020?
It was, I feel like it was kind of, maybe people were like a little bit in denial at that point. We weren't really sure what was happening, and we'd kind of heard rumblings and stuff. So, as far as, 2020 was fine. And then we weren't sure if it was going to happen in 2021 because, restaurants really took a hit.
Yeah.
But we were in the fall of 2020, we took a survey, and our restaurant partners overwhelmingly were like, yes, please have Restaurant Week. So we did it last year, and it was one of our most successful years, to be honest. And I think people really were ready to get out and support, and restaurants got so creative with their takeout options and things like that. And I know that was like overwhelming, and I don't think we were dealing with as much of the staff issues then, which is, I think, the challenge that we'll have this year with restaurants and needing patrons to be patient as restaurants are doing their best to, keep their business running as efficiently as possible.
I, as usual, didn't really plan any questions out. Not that we haven't talked about this before, but you're good. You've thrown one thing into my brain, and I'm going to hop around here a bunch. And I also want to spend some time talking about Leadership Toledo, but we'll get to that. How have you guys game planned, or has there been any strategy to make this year successful while working around the staffing issues, which I would hope are subsiding a little bit as the latest Greek letter seems to descend, but that certainly had to be a talking point.
Yeah, we still had some restaurants that had been longtime partners and said, listen, you know what, we can't come back this year because of the issues that we're facing, either from like supply chain issues with food to staffing. And they're still very supportive of what we're doing, but they said, keep us in mind, and when we can come back, we will. And I think what we're trying to do is really just get the messaging out, encourage people to make reservations, encourage people to be patient, encourage people to tip, all those good things. But it's really, I think, just going to be people having grace with one another. I think that's the biggest thing, not even just for Restaurant Week, just in this day and age that we're in. You got to show people some grace, and you got to show people that you understand or are attempting to understand that, might not be as simple as it once was.
It's funny, you go through those things and you've planted another seed in my head. Restaurant Week in 2016, there's not that much emphasis on be a little patient, be intentional about your reservation. Please be sure to tip well, because those are things that are just kind of standard when you go for a night out, but they're more important than ever with this year. And I'm sure, again, you guys had to focus on those things. So I'm glad you brought those things up, like tip well.
Yes. Yeah. These people are out here busting their butt, and they're probably, working harder than they were because they might not have, the support that they need back in the kitchen or out on the floor with them. So, what we're trying to do at Leadership Toledo is get people to celebrate everything that is local and celebrate, and really it's about having fun and being a part of the community. And I think Toledo is a really giving community, and Toledo can be a really fun community. So, let's just have it be that,
Yeah.
Let's not. We don't need to bring any negativity into it.
Let me go back to last year. Another thing that you threw at me was you said people got very creative with the way they went about things last year. Can you give me a couple examples of those?
Yeah. Well, some restaurants their dining rooms weren't even open, so they were just strictly takeout, and I think that put a lot of pressure on them. But just in terms of, I think, I'd have to go back and look at the menus from last year to see what people did. But I just know that, there were restaurants that, even though they weren't able to open in its true capacity or what they felt like would, how they originally operated, they were they were there for Restaurant Week. They were there to support us, and they were there to, be available to the community. But they just had to kind of operate a little differently than they traditionally did.
It even said, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
We weren't able to have a kickoff last year. We weren't able to have a kickoff event. But what we did was we partnered with Patron Saints Brewery, and we did a virtual beer tasting. And we partnered with some of our alum, Kevin Mullen, and we had people, we live streamed it from Stella's, and they paired the beers with some of the menu items that Stella's was offering on their Restaurant Week Toledo menu. So it was a really fun event. It was a sold out event. We had 150 kits that we sold. So that was something, creative that we did. We couldn't have our traditional kickoff, but we were able to have some kind of kickoff event. And one of the owners of Patron Saints Brewery is a Leadership Toledo alum. So we love when we can engage our alum in that capacity as well.
With last year, did you get the sense that maybe in pre-planning, but then also reaching out to the usuals or some new people, like you were almost going to be a lifeline? Like some people were waiting for that phone call, because I know we weren't quite in vaccine time, but people were antsy. There'd been a lot of lost business in the fall. We all read the stories about places downtown, how much of a struggle it was. Did they kind of see Restaurant Week as a lifeline, and they were willing to jump through hoops and struggle just so they could come together, because this was going to kind of rising tide's going to raise all the boats here? Was there some increased pressure?
Yeah, I would say that, like I was saying, we weren't sure if restaurants were going to be open to it. But I think, to your point, I think restaurants were like, anything that we can do to push business and drive business, not only because this time of year is usually slower, but also because of COVID. And you're right, the vaccines had just started rolling out, during that. I mean, I think I got mine in March of 2021. So I think I got mine maybe like that during Restaurant Week. And I was definitely like low on the list. So, it was starting to roll out, but I think they were just looking for anything to really drive business to them.
Will there be a kickoff party this year? What's the plans to start things off?
There is a kickoff. So we are going back to our traditional kickoff event. We cut the ticket amount in half, though. So, it's usually a 400 person event. It's going to be around 200 people this year. So that's a bummer. We sold out tickets within a matter of 2 days, which is awesome for us. But I was like, oh my gosh, I wish we could sell more. But we're still trying to be cognizant of what's happening in the world. So we're really excited to bring that back. We have some great beer and wine tasting, and Bellwether's going to be there with some cocktails and live music. So it's going to be fun, and I'm really excited to be able to bring that back, because it's just a fun way to kind of, amp up for the week and really get the ball rolling.
When and where is the kickoff party?
The kickoff is Thursday, February 24th, and it'll be at the Secor building downtown. So starts at 5 o'clock, and it's usually over, around 7-ish. But we're really excited about the lineup there. And but like I said, we are sold out, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but also exciting at the same time.
Yeah, are two of my favorite 13 ABC people there to do their usual hosting duties, or does their new 4 o'clock show prevent that? Yeah.
Toney is going to be a part of Restaurant Week, and we're excited to have him back.
Yeah, I'm sure they prodded their bosses because with their 4 o'clock show now. Hey, we'll just do the show from here, and then it'll be the preview and the walk up. Actually, I mean, that sounds like a really good idea, and they probably have asked. Yeah. But I know that's to me, like with the kickoff party, it's a Toney and Tina thing. So I'm glad that some things are getting back to normal. Before I ask you more about this week and who's new and what's going on, and as we get back to some more normalcy than ever, knock on wood, tell me about Leadership Toledo, because that's an important thing that we shouldn't overlook. For those that don't know, how did Leadership Toledo begin? How did you get involved? What does it do? How can they get involved?
Yeah, so Leadership Toledo has been around since 1980, and it's, in some form. It's definitely evolved over the past 40 plus years. But really what we're aiming to do is inspire community involvement and get people to recognize Toledo as a special place. There's a lot here. We have a lot of opportunities. We also have a lot of challenges. And our goal is to really educate people on those opportunities, on those challenges, and help them to become more confident leaders, connect with their community, grow in self-awareness on, their own leadership capabilities, but also the leadership possibilities in the community, and identify service that's meaningful to them. So we do that through our core program, which is for adults, which is what we call our signature program, which has been around the longest. And then we also have a number of youth programs, which is what Restaurant Week Toledo supports. And those are for high school students. And we offer those completely tuition free. So we have Youth Leadership Toledo, which is for high school sophomores. We have our youth philanthropy program called Yippee, which is for high school juniors and seniors. And then we have a number of youth conferences throughout the year. And I will do a plug for that because we have one coming up on March 19th. And that, again, is open to any area high school student, free of cost. So if they want more information on that, they can check out our website, leadershiptoledo.org. But we'd love to get as many high school students there as possible. It's going to be a really great day. We have some outside speakers. We're going to be at the downtown Toledo Library. So it's a great opportunity to really help those high school students hone in on those leadership skills.
Do you have reasonable relationships and partnerships with some of with TPS or some of the other schools in the area so that they can make sure that their kids are involved?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good.
So we have a relationship basically with all of the schools in Toledo. So we'll be promoting it crazy to them. In our Youth Leadership Toledo class, which is about 58 high school sophomores, and we have over 30 schools represented in that. So we'll make sure that we're getting the word out to all of those schools.
Kevin's got to pull his fire truck up to the front of the main branch of the library and give all those kids non-alcoholic beverages and say, "Kids, this can be you."
Floats or something.
Yes,
exactly.
Kevin's well known in our community, and I hope by this time he is recovering again. I know he's had a hell of a couple of months. I'm like, good Lord, nobody as good as Kevin for our community should be going through such nonsense.
I know, it's crazy.
Who are some of the other alums that people might be familiar with that can kind of ring a bell with them?
Oh, my goodness. You're putting me on the spot here. So our speaker at the conference in March will be Candice Harrison. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she is very involved in the community. She's currently works at TPS. She has her own PR consulting firm that she's been really working with. We have, oh my goodness.
We could do Sam. How about Sam?
Yes, Sam, of course, Sam. Now he's at starting his new gig over at Tarda, so we're lucky that he's going to be tackling that challenge. I think if anyone's up for it, it's definitely Sam.
Yeah, Sam Meldon, by the way. And I'll go. I do know Candice. I've known Candice for a long time now. And you forgot her latest wonderful honor, which will have her in history books here, the first African American to be a leader of the Toledo Press Club, which is an incredible honor.
Yeah, absolutely. That is really, very, very exciting for her. There's not, if there's one person who definitely knows how to make a splash in Toledo, it's definitely Candice. And we're really excited to have her come and speak to our students because I think she'll be really impactful to them.
For sure. All right, to the tasty part of stuff. What is lined up for Restaurant Week Toledo this year?
All right. We have 36 restaurants this year. As far as new restaurants, the Brick Bar is going to have, it's more of obviously that's more of a bar, but they're going to have a nice little drink and appetizer menu. We have Charlie's over in Sylvania. They're new. Hannon's Block. Jara's Heavenly Sweet will be there. So she's got her new location over there on Bancroft. The Leaf and Seed, which we're super excited about because they are our only true vegan restaurant. So I think that's kind of where we are with new restaurants, but we've got, our regulars, our Rosie's, Dirty Bird, Registry, White House Inn, Maddie and Bella, Nancy's, the Main Street Ventures. So, there's a lot to choose from. There's something for every price point. If you go to our restaurantweektoledo.com, you can filter by meal. You can filter by location, and there truly is something for everyone, whether it's a $1 Americano from Brewhouse or a 3-course steak dinner from Mancy's Steakhouse. There's definitely something to I think, appease to everyone out there.
One of the other parts of Restaurant Week is that there's a specific menu for Restaurant Week as well, correct?
Yes. So each restaurant will have its own special menu for the week. And those will be going live. Oh, let me check my calendar. I think it's February 21st or 22nd.
Okay.
I think the 21st. So you'll be able to see all of those online then. And so then you can kind of map out accordingly. But I have had a chance to take a gander at some of them, and there are some really good ones out there. So you'll definitely want to take a peek at those once they drop on the website.
You know any? Do you recall any of them offhand?
I'm kind of a little bit removed from that part of the process. But as far as I know, like Maddie and Bella have some really cute. They kind of categorize their menu by generation. Mm-hmm. So they've got like something that appeals to the millennial and the boomer and the Gen X. So that was pretty funny. And Registry had something on there, and I can't exactly remember what it is right now, but I just remember saying to myself, I'm definitely going there. So I will. I wish I had more to share with you right now, but I don't have access to that at the moment.
The great thing about, there are a lot of great things about Restaurant Week, but usually if you have a favorite spot or if you have a top 5 spot in the area, they're usually associated with Restaurant Week. And it gives you an opportunity to maybe force yourself to get something that you don't usually get. Like when I go to Registry, I get the meatloaf burger all the time. If Erica ever took it off, I would be picketing outside of her spot. But I like that it kind of forces us to try different things. But again, back to the point, if there's a restaurant you love in our area, it's very likely they're a part of Restaurant Week.
Yeah, absolutely. And something fun this year. Last year we introduced a Restaurant Week passport, and it was actually like a physical passport, and you could pick them up and you got to go and restaurants would stamp. This year we took our passport digital. So if you go to our website, you can click on that and you can sign up. And it's a digital passport, and basically all you need to do is enable your location, and then when you go in and eat there, it'll kind of check the box. And depending, the more restaurants you go to and check in at, then the more opportunities you're entered to win up to $250 in gift cards.
Awesome.
And we've got some really great prizes. Libby is our presenting sponsor this year, and so they've got some good giveaways that we're going to be incorporating into that. We'll have our regular photo contest. So yeah, you'll definitely want to do that. And we're trying to encourage people to download that passport. It's really fun to kind of play around with. If you're familiar with the Ale Trail one that came out over the summer, it's basically the same platform as that. Destination Toledo is one of our partners, and they generously helped us put that together. So definitely take a peek into that.
I'm excited that things are as full throttle as they've been in quite some time. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Of all this, we've glossed over the date. It's February 28th to the 7th?
To the 6th, February 28th. So it starts that Monday and goes through Sunday.
Awesome.
So,
did we miss anything? We got Leadership Toledo. We got the heck that we went through for the last couple of years. We previewed this year. Toney and Tina are going to kick everything off. What else? Is that it?
I think that's it. We're really excited. It's always a really fun time of year for us, and we're so thankful to all of our sponsors, to all of our restaurant partners, and then, of course, the community. And I just want to say thank you to you. I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this on behalf of Leadership Toledo.
Well, now that you told me that Jaden only gave you 6 minutes, and if that's his usual business, we're going to blow him out of the water here on the podcast and beyond.
Man, he was great.
You know what?
Great.
I forgot. I have tried to ask to wrap up interviews with controversial food questions.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
So let me give you this, since they're kind of in the shadow of the Super Bowl. What's the worst possible topping you could think of for pizza? Now, let me set the ground rules here. It has to be a food that you would normally like, not something that you dislike. I would not put anchovies or cottage cheese in my pizza.
Okay.
I like
'Cause
mayonnaise.
you don't like it.
Right.
Okay.
I like mayonnaise. I would not want it on my pizza. So how about you?
All right. So the worst possible topping that's put on a pizza, I would probably, for something that I eat, I would say like either A1 sauce or deviled eggs.
Okay.
I do not think that would taste good on pizza.
Yeah. No, I was thinking eggs as well, like whatever way eggs, it would not work out. Well, somebody gave me the answer of M&Ms and like thought that was a good answer. So that's it's going to be my thing. Just ask controversial food questions. Yeah, and I'll make sure I have you on around Halloween so you can give a hot take about candy corn.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. I have a love-hate relationship with candy corn.
Save it for October.
Okay.
It was great to catch up with you. I'm glad things are getting back to where they should be. I'm going to root that there are no more Greek letters we get familiar with over the next 60 days or so. So Restaurant Week and everything else happening. Because Restaurant Week kind of kicks off drinking and eating season in Toledo. And I think you know some of the things that I'm referring to. So.
Yes, absolutely. So... cheers to that.
Yes.
And thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, and I appreciate the time, Anna.
All right. Bye, Eric. Bye-bye.